Martell Holt used to be a man who walked into any room like he was the main event. His suits were always sharp, his posture screamed confidence, and to the outside world, he embodied the image of a man who had it all: a career, a family, and the admiration of fans who tuned into love and marriage. Huntsville week after week. But the very image that once seemed untouchable has cracked into pieces, scattering across headlines, social media feeds, and courtroom whispers. And now, instead of standing tall, Martell finds himself crouched under the weight of public scrutiny and legal rejection. The most recent blow: the court outright rejecting his demands for custody, exposing the reality that his fight was never about what was best for the children. It was about revenge, control, and ego. This story is about more than celebrity gossip. It's about the unraveling of a man who refuses to adapt, the resilience of a woman who refuses to fold, and the children caught in the middle of a battle that's been dragged out for far too long. Today, we're breaking down the rise, the fall, and the messy custody battle that has turned into one of reality TV's most infamous real-life sagas. Buckle up, because this is not just another storyline. It's the downfall of Martell Holt. When audiences were first introduced to Martell, he was positioned as the epitome of success. His marriage to Melody Shari seemed like the picture-perfect union. Two attractive, ambitious individuals building businesses, raising children, and appearing to embody the American dream, especially within the African American community, where representation of thriving, family-oriented couples is deeply cherished. To viewers, Martell wasn't just a reality star. He was an aspirational figure, a man who could balance work, love, and fatherhood while still looking flawless on camera. But as with many carefully constructed facades, the cracks began to show. The very confidence that once drew admiration slowly began to resemble arrogance. The sharp suits and curated family image couldn't mask the discontent brewing behind closed doors. And when infidelity and lies started to spill into public view, the admiration turned into scrutiny. Fans no longer saw Martell as a strong family man. They saw him as someone who had gambled away the stability of his home for selfish desires. Fast forward to today, and the illusion is completely gone. Instead of being remembered for his charisma and professional drive, Martell is remembered for his courtroom antics, Instagram meltdowns, and desperate attempts to control a narrative that continues to slip further out of his hands. The custody battle between Martell and Melody is one of the most telling chapters of this saga. At its core, custody disputes should always focus on the best interest of the children, ensuring stability, safety, and emotional support. But Martell's actions paint a very different picture. His repeated filings, motions, and accusations seem less about protecting his children and more about punishing his ex-wife. Every move he makes is drenched in bitterness, as though he is determined to prove a point rather than provide stability. Melody, on the other hand, has kept her energy consistent. While Martell rants online or makes last-minute photo ops with their son Knox, Melody remains grounded. She shows up at hearings calm, composed, and unwilling to engage in theatrics. When the court ordered psychological evaluations for both parents, she complied without hesitation, understanding that the process was a necessary step to protect her children. Martell, however, resisted. He stalled, he pushed back, and he framed the evaluation as a personal attack. And here's where it becomes telling. If you are confident in your parenting, if you truly believe you are the more stable parent, why would you fear an evaluation meant to confirm that? The answer is simple: you wouldn't. His resistance revealed far more than he intended, and fans were quick to call it out. This custody battle isn't about what's best for the kids, it's about control. Martell hasn't been able to accept that Melody has moved on, built her career, and continued to thrive in spite of the chaos. He's weaponizing the legal system in an attempt to hold her back, but every motion he files only highlights his inability to let go. Another disturbing element in this saga is the way Martell has begun to treat fatherhood as performance art. Parenting is not about staging moments for Instagram, yet time and time again, Martell has used social media as a stage to prove his point. Just before court dates, he posts photos with Knox, the son he shares with Arian Curry, as if to say, "Look at me, I'm present, I'm loving, I'm devoted." But the timing betrays the intent. It's not about the child, it's about the optics. He also goes live at odd hours, ranting about how he is the one being wronged, always casting himself as the victim. But here's the problem. Victims don't consistently resist accountability. Victims don't weaponize court systems to attack their co-parent. And victims certainly don't spend their time proving their worth through hashtags and captions instead of through actions. Fans have noticed the pattern. Every time something doesn't go Martell's way, a rant surfaces. It's less about genuine parenting and more about keeping up the appearance of parenting. And here's what he fails to realize: the courts are watching. In today's world, judges pay attention to social media, especially when high-conflict custody cases are involved. Martell's online behavior, instead of strengthening his case, has likely weakened it. You can't demand peace in one breath and tear down the mother of your children in the next. Perhaps one of the clearest signs of Martell's decline is the silence of those who once stood by him. Take Ariane Curry, for example. Once a woman who seemed determined to protect Martell at all costs, she has now turned her back, publicly accusing him of manipulation and selfishness. Her silence and occasional sharp critiques speak volumes. When someone who once defended you relentlessly begins exposing your flaws, it's a sign that the truth is catching up. Then there's Destiny Payton. Remember when Martell and Destiny were practically inseparable on Love and Marriage? Huntsville? She was his confidant, his defender, the friend who always seemed to have his back. Now, she's quiet. Too quiet. Fans have noticed the distance and silence in moments like this is rarely accidental. Destiny has her own issues, and aligning herself with Martell's chaos seems like a burden she's unwilling to carry anymore. Her absence from his corner isn't just coincidental, it's strategic. Even Carlos King, the producer behind the show, hasn't escaped criticism. Fans have started questioning whether Martell's personal chaos is being exploited for ratings. But here's the reality: no one is forcing Martell into these situations. The cameras may roll, but the decisions are his own. If anything, the show has simply amplified what was already happening. While Martell spirals, Melody has been rising. She has become the embodiment of grace under pressure, proving that consistency speaks louder than any rant or accusation. She continues to build her career, care for her children, and navigate life with a calmness that only strengthens her credibility in court and in the court of public opinion. Fans noticed her recent Tennessee trip with her children. To outsiders, it may have looked like a simple getaway. But to those who understand the bigger picture, it was a statement. While Martell wastes time fighting battles out of spite, Melody invests her energy in creating joy, peace, and stability for her children. She doesn't need to rant or prove anything on Instagram because her actions are her evidence. Public opinion has shifted dramatically in her favor, and it's easy to see why. When you compare Martell's erratic behavior with Melody's quiet strength, the contrast is striking. One parent is focused on ego. The other is focused on the kids. And that distinction is clear not just to fans, but to the courts as well. Through all the chaos, the ones most impacted are the children. They didn't ask for their parents' drama to be played out on television. They didn't ask for their father's meltdowns to be dissected online or for their mother's composure to be turned into memes. Yet here they are, growing up in the middle of one of the most public custody battles in reality TV history. Melody, to her credit, has done everything she can to shield them. She avoids unnecessary public spats and keeps her focus on providing stability. Martell, however, often does the opposite. By using social media as a stage, he exposes them to public scrutiny. By dragging every disagreement into court, he prolongs their exposure to conflict. And, perhaps most concerning, by using Knox as a prop to prove his fatherhood, he reduces his role as a parent to a tool for leverage. Children are not evidence. They are not props. They are not bargaining chips in a custody war. They deserve peace, consistency, and love. And the court, at its core, is tasked with protecting that. Which is why Martell's tactics have backfired time and time again. At the heart of Martell's downfall is his refusal to evolve. He is still clinging to the image of the man who once had it all, without realizing that version of himself no longer exists. The House of Cards collapsed long ago, but instead of rebuilding with humility, he has chosen to fight with arrogance. He could have had a redemption arc. Fans love a comeback story, and had he taken accountability, focused on co-parenting, and shown genuine growth, he may have won back public support. Instead, he weaponized every opportunity for healing and turned it into another performance. And the irony is heartbreaking. Martell doesn't realize that every tantrum, every motion, every rant only cements the image of instability he's desperate to avoid. The very narrative he's trying to control is slipping away because actions will always outweigh words. And right now, his actions are speaking louder than anything he could ever say. So where does this leave us? With Melody continuing to thrive, Martell sinking deeper into his own chaos, and their children navigating a reality they never asked for. This custody battle may continue, but the court has made it clear petty demands, public tantrums, and Instagram performances won't win the day. Stability wins, consistency wins, and love, real love, not the kind packaged for social media, wins. Martell once had the world at his feet, but ego has proven to be his greatest downfall. And while he continues to fight for control, Melody continues to fight for peace. And in the end, that's the real victory. So what do you think? Is Martell truly fighting for his children, or is this just another battle in his war for ego and revenge? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from over. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more deep dives into the reality TV dramas that spill way beyond the cameras. Until next time, remember, actions speak louder than Instagram rants.